actually shared your first race car. You didn't both have one. You shared the car. What was that like? I mean, did you enjoy that?
No, not at all.
But a guy gets starting to win 75, 50, 75% of the time he comes out. Now all of a sudden there's a lot of people in the pits that they don't like that guy.
They keep yelling cheater.
He's cheating.
If you're winning, you're cheating.
Nobody can win.
Little Bobby will bounce back. He'll be all right.
He'll be all right. Before you know it, Wes will be laying on the front stretch at Charlotte with him again, helping him hug the trophy. So all will be well in the Bobby Pierce world. You guys tell me, how many times does somebody beat the truck fair and square? I'm not talking about breaking or anything like that. How many times do you get beat in that truck at Thunder Mountain this year?
0.
And welcome into a brand new edition of Dirt Racing and the Bluegrass Live. It's another fun show lined up for everybody here. We're going to talk to the undefeated winner of the Jesse Dillow Memorial over there at Willard Speedway, Avery Taylor, here in just a few minutes. Wes, the last time we had him on, I didn't plug a cord in the right way, so hopefully things go a little bit better here tonight. We actually get to talk to Avery this evening.
Yeah, I hope so we can totally redeem ourselves.
Yeah, that's exactly right, man. That was rough going. So Dirt Racing and the Bluegrass Live is presented by Bluegrass Restoration and Construction. We appreciate their support here of the podcast. This is the Wilson Plumbing Studio. We appreciate our good buddy Robbie Wilson over there at Wilson Plumbing for his help. And you can also call the Absolute Seamless Gutters hotline. That number is 859-412-1287. We appreciate Dwayne Taylor and Absolute Seamless Gutters for their support of our show and all the fine folks that help us out here on the podcast that help us make all this happen. A big weekend ahead of us, man, a big weekend behind us. We're just rolling right along, and I just saw today posted that the World of Outlaws show coming up at Ponderosa not this Friday, but not this Friday, but the next. It's just crazy how fast things are coming upon us and moving along in this racing season.
Yeah, the biggest purse of all time at Ponderosa Speedway next Friday night, June 21st.
Yeah. And last year, man, that was just an awesome race. I just hope we can get close to that this year. I'll be tickled to death.
Yeah.
If it's half as good as it was.
By far the best race that I know that I watched, and probably you watched last year as well. I mean, just Marlar from 23rd, I believe.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
and
it was crazy
all night until the feature.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was, man. And so it was just crazy. Well, it usually takes a few minutes for everybody to jump on here. Seems like it's always about 10, 15 minutes into the show before our crowd comes in. Like they all like to wait till after hot laps usually, I think, before they decide to roll in. But if you don't care, go ahead and share this out. Let your friends know we're live here. We'd appreciate that. Let's get as many people as we can. Around 8:20, we're going to bring Avery Taylor on. You talk about a good race this past weekend. I didn't get, of course, we were, neither one of us were there, but I watched Jeff Soxie's video, Racing Rumble, and man, what a race that was. That is the race of the year so far, in my opinion. I don't think there's anything that's come close to it. That was a good one.
It was, and thanks to Jeff Soxie for what he does, at our area tracks here in the state of Kentucky. Man, what a barn burner on that quarter-mile bull ring.
Yeah.
Just awesome.
I know, man. Those are the tracks that race, like, I don't want to talk about too much because I want to talk about it when Avery gets on here.
Yeah, we'll spoil it, but
no,
gosh,
we don't.
What a race.
Just couldn't believe it. Yeah, I know. So anyway, let's save it. Let's save it for him.
Yeah, we'll save it when we talk to the undefeated champ.
Yeah, that's right, man. Because it was a good one for sure. So this past Saturday night, I had an extremely rare night with the family at Rockcastle. It was really even unplanned. We went camping. What happened was we went camping on Friday night. We were planning on camping this weekend, so we get to the campground, and we're out in the middle of nowhere in Turkey Foot in Jackson County. Man, it's going to be a peaceful time. It's just going to be awesome. Nothing but the crickets. And we get to the campsite, and like there's a lot of people there. but like we only camp spot available, and we get uphill of like a family with like 15 kids. Like there's a, 2 people, and there was like 15 kids there, and the parents were screaming at the kids, and the kids were screaming at the parents, and it was just like all night. Literally, I'm not exaggerating. It's like 2:00 in the morning. This is all going on, and so we're like, well, all right. Sarah was off a couple days this week, so we said we'll go ahead and leave Saturday morning. We decided we'll just go back to the house for one night. We'll come back on Sunday night because like they'll be back at work. Sunday night they'll have to go back to work, and it'll be peaceful out in the middle of nowhere like what we're looking for. So we came back to the house on Saturday night, so we decided to go to the races. End up going back Sunday, like we roll up, and like they're still there, which I'll leave it at that, man. I was like, God, come on, man. We're trying to get away from this. But, so that sucks. But we did get to go to Rockcastle on Saturday night, and man, it was just such a good time because, like, honestly, I mean, I know, like, we go to the World and some things like that. That's fun, and we really don't do a whole lot of those places. But I bet it had been, like, over 10 years since I had – and it was kind of good to take it in that way, too, just as a fan, like, going to the grandstands because we get there and Sarah's like, I just want to be a race fan. Like, we paid to get in. We didn't go to the suite. Like, she's like, I just want to be a race fan. Like, normal – I'm like, you mean I could get you in a heated, cool suite and, like, you won't even take it. So, nope, we had to be a race fan. So, it was fun to do that, though, too. But the racing was really good. Craig Stocks, just a couple highlights here. Craig Stocks had his first heat win locked up, man. Like, had it in the bag. Modified, in modified, of course. First heat win locked up, looped it with like 3 to go. I know. Felt bad for him because I was like, man, he's got this, and he had it locked up. Jimmy Crabtree won on his birthday. And about a week after his dad passed away, I think it was. So, just a big win for him, and really cool to see that. Cole Fields, 12 years old, in that Crown Vic. Cole Fields won a heat race Saturday night.
That is great.
Yeah,
he's good in that Crown Vic. He really
is. Yeah, he's really good in it. But yeah, how about that, man? Like 12 years old, and out there winning a heat race in a big old Crown Vic race car, man. That was just really that was like that made the night worth it. Seeing that happen, it was just awesome to see. It really was.
And the sky's the limit for him. I mean, he's just a kid and already racing and getting a heat race win in that Crown Vic. So, man, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is, and it was awesome. But the best part of the night, like I said, just being able to be there with the family, my little boy, my wife, and just I don't know why this is ringing through. Are you hearing that?
Yeah, I'm hearing
I've got it muted. I don't know. Anyways, I unplugged it. We ain't got to worry about it now.
So if you're calling, call back later.
If you're calling. Sorry, you're going to call back later. We got a lot to talk about here. We'll try to take some phone calls on the Absolute Seamless Gutters hotline here in just a little bit. But yeah, man, just it's just a fun night being able to be there with them and hang out, and don't get a lot of chances to do that here lately. So that was a lot of fun. But I tell you what, Rockcastle, man, they put on an event this weekend. And I thought, man, like this, we need more of this. Like, I felt like, and I told them this after the race, I felt like I went to an event.
Yeah.
And a race broke out. Like, it was just so well done. Everything they did, it was just so well done. And, man, like, there was so many things, because the truth is, and this is true, I mean, how many times a year do you go to a race and you're just, like, truly wowed by the race? Like, man, that was just an awesome, incredible, that race, I'll never forget it kind of race. How often does that happen?
Once or twice a year.
Yeah, I mean,
not very many times.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often. So, like, but there were things outside of the race there Saturday night that happened for folks at Rockcastle Speedway that they'll remember for the rest of their lives, and it had nothing to do with the race.
Yeah, and you said it was packed too.
It was
There was
absolutely packed.
people everywhere, and
I mean,
that's what that's what I like to hear.
yeah.
You got to go with the family. That was number one, and then B, you was like, man, this place is jam packed. Lots to do for the kids and the families, and then the racing was awesome too. So just a great night sounded like it.
Yeah,
Rockcastle Speedway.
it was. I mean, the racing was good too. And the reason I think that's just one of the best things I've seen in a long time at a racetrack is, like I said, I mean, the racing aspect, there are so many things out of the control of the racetrack. People always want a great race, and I understand that, but like there are things that are out of everyone's control when it comes to a race, whether or not the racing is top notch.
Yeah.
Like sometimes sometimes you're going to have a guy that's just faster than everybody else, and he's going to lead all 100 laps of the race. Like you saw at the Dream. Like Jonathan Davenport's just absolutely dominates Eldora. There's nothing. Tony Stewart can't do anything about that. Sometimes the track dries out, and it's just a bad weather time. Sometimes it rains too much. There's a lot of things outside of control, but what folks can control is the event they put on and doing things outside of just the race. Because you think about all the other things you can do for fun. Like you go to a basketball game, you got the band playing, you got a halftime show. I mean, there's things that are eventful outside of just the racing that I think can help draw people to local racing, because that was a regular payout. Like it was a regular show payout, yet it was packed, absolutely packed.
That is what I wanted to hear, man. That's too cool.
And I tell you, Sarah happened to accidentally catch this. So they let all the kids out on the front stretch, which is something I know that happens a lot at the racetrack. Tracks try to do that once a year or so, meet and greet with the drivers and that sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
But they let all the kids out on the front stretch, and Sarah had her phone out recording it, and she caught just audio of some kids behind her. Don't know who they were, but just some kids behind her as they were walking down the track, like toward the cars, as some kids saying, "Oh my God." Like it was just, you remember those experiences as a kid being at a racetrack. It's just like, they'll remember that for the rest of their lives, walking out on that racetrack. We've done it our whole lives, so like we're used to it. But for a little kid, it's like, man, that's just such a cool thing for them. So it's just awesome. They had characters there: Bluey, Paw Patrol, Spider-Man was there.
Spider-Man. Yeah.
They had a bunch of giveaways. Just like I said, an awesome night. And I think our racetracks need to find a way. You don't have to do it all in one night.
Yeah.
But maybe just one thing a night where you add to the event. It doesn't have to cost a whole bunch of money. That helps people have a good time at the races outside of just the race, because we love racing.
Yeah.
But some people, it doesn't hurt to entertain them a little bit with stuff outside of just the race cars too. And I think it would go a long way for the sport and for our racetracks. I really do.
I agree with you.
So, because you have a lot of we still see it every day. I mean, complaints about, this track's running, well, they shouldn't run this, they shouldn't run that. I truly believe, and I'll probably just end up dying on this hill one day, but I think there's a world in which Rockcastle Speedway and all the other tracks, Thunder Mountains in Corbin, Lake Cumberland's towards Somerset, Mudlicks in Wallingford, you got Willard, all those places, though, can build their fan bases and build their own little area in a way in which they don't have to worry about what everybody else is doing, because they've got their own fans and their own cars. But it's going to take more than just hosting a race to pull that off, I think, and years of commitment to doing that too.
Yeah.
So,
because it's more like you said. I mean, I've seen some tracks down, in the South, like Alabama, for instance. They had playground equipment for the kids. I was like, I'm trying to think. Moulton Speedway was the name of that track, and they had playground equipment right next to the grandstands. And I thought, that's pretty cool. And the kids could be on the playground equipment or in the swings and still watch the race because it was coming right to the right into turn one.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
It is cool. And I truly believe if you get the kids wanting to come to the races, mom and dad's going to follow.
Yeah.
If the kids want to go, mom and dad's going to follow. If the kids don't want to come, they're going to have a whole lot harder time coming to the races consistently. I'm talking about consistently right. Because that's what we need. I don't think this sport can survive off having to host 10,000 to win super late model races to get fans to show up. But they can survive if they've got a regular payout and a packed crowd and a field full of race cars. And they don't have to complain or worry about what the track down the road's doing because they've got their own thing going on.
And I think
there's a world everybody can do that.
I always say it. Get new people involved in this sport every time you get the opportunity. Take somebody that's never been to the track. Take them, show them, teach them. Earlier in the season, I got to take a buddy of mine from here in Campbellsville, Austin Rakes, to his very first race at Brownstown Speedway. He had never been to a dirt race before, and he absolutely loved it. Yeah. And I think and Chase Swafford, went with us. And I think a week or two ago, Chase took him to Lawrenceburg and he got to see the sprint. So, I mean, he saw, late models. I guess that was, trying to think, I believe that was the icebreaker and Devin Moran won it. And, instantly he becomes a Devin Moran fan, but he was like, man, this is awesome. He said, I love it. And it's taking new people and teaching them and showing them whether they're, 3 years old or 80 years old and all in between, showing new people and taking them and letting them experience something that we love so very much.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think with some people, getting new people to the track takes, maybe you have Bluey come to the racetrack. I know that's maybe, and you don't have to do it all in one weekend. Maybe you have an inflatable set up one weekend, maybe whatever. I mean, there's just so many things you can do that really, you do some kind of giveaway that doesn't cost a whole lot of money. That's the thing with kids, man. Like I've got one myself. You know how it is. Yeah. You don't have to do a whole lot or even spend a whole lot of money to get kids excited, really excited.
Just little things.
A little bit creative. So, anyway, that's our soapbox.
Enough on that soapbox.
We'll move on. Andrew Harmon protected home turf this past weekend with the KDRA Superstock Series at Mud Lick. He flipped the car, destroyed a race car at Rockcastle to start the year. Put another new one together, and came out and won the Superstock Series at Mud Lick this past weekend. So cool to see that for him there, protecting his home field. Of course, like I said earlier, Avery Taylor undefeated in the Jesse Dillow Memorial. Yeah. I mean, I tell you what, that's hard to do. 3 out of 3 in that event, so really cool.
We might have to get a bounty on him for next year's race.
I know. Well, I think we need to, buddy. It's time to put one on.
We might put a dirt racing in the Bluegrass Live bounty on him.
Yeah, that's right. Wes writes the check, baby. Here
oh,
we go.
yeah.
Right.
I'll sign it. And you put the money up, I'll sign the
check. Yeah, I know you would.
That's a joint account we got.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, I know, man. And I'm getting through this quick, but we got to get to Avery, man. He's been waiting on us. But anyway,
he's ready. He was here before Hot Laps.
He was,
he was ready to go.
I know. And then some sad news from the last week. I hate to do this to us, but I hate to see this. I know, man. But look, 2 racetracks in 1 week closing. One of them opened back up already. Hey, that might be the quickest track closing down to open back up maybe in the history, but I'm glad to see that.
Sad to hear about both of them in the same weekend with 191 and Mountain Sports Complex, and then opening back up. Now you get it right when you say Mountain Motor Speedway.
I know, man. I don't have to say Mountain. I mean, Yeah, I don't want to see that either, but at least I don't have to be
No.
wrong about Mountain Motor Speedway. But no, it is. It's just, because I know how much hard work and effort both of those two guys and families really running those places put into it. I know how hard this sport is. Look, even I'm telling you right now, and people don't believe this. I'm telling you they don't, but I know for sure, and you know this too. Even the tracks that you think are doing the absolute best, everybody looks at them and they think, man, they're killing it.
Yeah.
Are not killing it financially.
No,
I'm telling you,
they're
it's just the way
barely.
it is.
They're you think they're doing good. They're barely getting by.
They're just trying to find a
And
way to make it work.
It's so hard because we know both of these guys and their families have absolutely worked their tails off on both of these tracks. And, you put in the effort, you put in the money, and then it doesn't work out. But in the grand scheme of things, you got to look at it and say, they've got to do what's best for them and their families. And if it's not worked out, I just hate that. But it just didn't. And I know it wouldn't because of lack of effort and money and all that, because I know both families poured their heart and soul into it. And just hate to see that, but glad that Mountain Motor has come back and going to be able to open back up, and hopefully 191, because both of those tracks are two that I've never been to. Yeah, and really wanted to try to make a visit to both of those this year.
Yeah, we were planning on it, for sure. And yeah, you just hate to see it. It's heartbreaking, and it's hard on these guys. It's hard on their families. I mean, I've told you before, when Clay City went under, my stepdad was running it. He never went back to. He was the biggest dirt racing fan there ever was. And it took about everything they had, and he never went back to a race. I don't think he's ever been back to a race since then. It's tough, man, and
That's
it
just
really
sad.
is. And you just hate to see it, and you hope the best for everybody. And I get it completely, and hate to see it, and just hope the best for everybody there involved. All right, let's take a quick commercial break here. You want to, and then we'll get Avery on here and talk to him about the big three-peat from this past Saturday night.
Sounds good.
Hi, I'm Chris Lowry with Bluegrass Restoration and Construction. From simple service work to full paints, roofing, flooring, and everything in between, we're your one-stop shop for your home maintenance and remodeling needs. Our family has been serving the Richmond area for 3 generations, and we're proud to continue that today. You also voted us the best general contractor in Madison County in 2022. We thank you for that honor. Give us a call for all your construction needs at 859-353-1133.
Hey, I meant to mention, too, before we went to break there, I want to do this real quick. Let's go ahead and show a quick highlight video here it's about a minute long of the best part of the race from our good buddy Jeff Soxie and Racing Rumble here real quick. All right, and this guest segment. Let me get this taken down.
Yeah,
we
take
see,
it
we
off
gotta
there
see
so
his
we can
face.
see.
There we go.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. This guest segment is brought to you by Fast Track Plumbing. We appreciate our friends Calvin Taylor and the gang over there at Fast Track Plumbing for their
Not
support.
Calvin Taylor.
Calvin Carlton, yeah.
God.
Dwayne Taylor is Absolute Seamless Gutters. Calvin Carlton with the Fast Track Plumbing. I tell you what, man, one of these days I'm gonna have I'm gonna make a whole show. No, I'm gonna be like Avery Taylor, a whole race, no mistakes, man. It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait. This is the Wayne's Auto Repair Driver of the Week as well. Our good buddy Wayne. I'm not saying any more last names. It's Wayne at Wayne's Auto Repair.
Wayne's Auto Repair out of
Avery,
Somerset.
That's right, out of Somerset, Kentucky. Avery, it's good to have you on here, man. How about that race this past weekend? We just watched highlights of it from Race and Rumble. That was something else, man. It had to be inside the car.
Thank you guys for having me. And yeah, it was exciting. It was exciting even in the car. I was trying to calm myself down the whole time.
Yeah. I kind of wondered about that, like I thought about you drivers, and I'm thinking, you're in a situation like that, you're in a battle like that, like are you focused, are you nervous, are you excited? Like what's going on inside the car when that's happening, what we're seeing right there? What are you going through inside the car?
Well, I can't speak for everybody, but when you're racing for the lead like that, I was so focused on leading that race, even in lap traffic, like, not that I couldn't see those lap cars or whatever, but you're just not even focused on them being there. You're just trying to figure out how you're going to pass the guy that's leading. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I imagine. So we watched the highlight. Were there any? And that was as close quarters, Wes, as you get, man. Like that's rubbing as racing right there.
I mean, tight. As the old saying goes, they'll say you could put the top three under a blanket. Well, you could put those top three under a baby blanket.
No kidding, man.
I mean, just cool. Avery, you had Avery, and then you had Fouts and Fisher, and just battling, and then lap traffic too. So that. How quick was you in lap traffic? What lap did you catch them?
I want to say we caught lappers we had a couple restarts in there. So probably about 10 laps or so on green flag runs. We was catching them lappers.
Yeah.
I want to say that run we was 10 or 12 laps into it. And man, but we was catching them quick. I mean, it don't take no time hardly on them quarter mile tracks to catching them lappers. Yeah. So
I bet, yeah.
You run up on them quick.
So you're on the inside. There's no room given there. Nobody's giving anybody any room. I'm just saying, like nobody's giving anybody, which is what is racing, man. But were there any like that's one of those? Were there any hard feelings? Do you know that you know of?
No, there wasn't no hard feelings for me. I mean, when you're racing for the lead like that, they're not going to give you the spot. You know, what I mean? Especially on a tight racetrack like that. And I always my papa told me when I was little, Charlie Swartz told him one time that when you're racing with him, you can't knock him out of the ballpark. Yeah. But if you got to race with him and brush against him a little bit to win, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. So he wasn't going to give me that, that bottom. And I was gonna get down there one way or another. I didn't want to tear us up or nothing, but I made my way down there.
Yeah, you did for sure. And well, it's good to see guys be able to race like that, and
that's just good hard racing.
It is, on a little quarter mile racetrack.
Yeah. There was no ill intent or nothing. We was just racing hard, and I hope they don't have any hard feelings with me, over racing like that, but. We always racing for that money, you got to do what you got to do when you're trying to go to the front, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what we like to see as fans is guys be willing to do what – because like I said, I don't feel like there was any – I don't think any of it was dirty by no means. I think it was really good, hard racing, and like that's what we want to see because, like I'm telling you, you stuck it in there on the bottom. And there was not a lot of room between you and that Ute tire there in 3 and 4 on one of those laps. Like there was no room given, and so that's a good thing, though. That's what we want to see.
Yeah, and when we was in them lap cars too, we was racing so hard. There's no scoreboard there, so I mean, I don't really count laps in my head when I'm racing. You're
Yeah.
focusing on too much other stuff going on, you know. So I had no clue. I knew we was probably halfway through. I didn't see the flagman throw halfway. I seen it in the video, so he did. But I was just so worried on everything else. I didn't know how many laps we had in, so I was really trying to hurry. You know, I didn't know if it was lap 26 and we was getting ready to get two to go soon or what. So I was trying to make my way up through there as quick as I could, you know.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Well, and that was you. You know, it's not like you started on the front row of that race. That was not an easy race for you to win at that little quarter-mile bull ring either, because you started 8th, had not so good start to the night, and started in 8th in the feature and come to the front. So
Yeah,
it's tough.
we started rough. I was the first out to qualify, and I had no clue. The top of the racetrack looked really good, and I really thought I could carry more momentum up there than to run around the bottom on the tires. But so I went to the top, run 2 laps wide open, hard as I could go, and I come in. They're like, "You're 11th." I was like, "Oh boy, this is gonna be a long night," you know. So,
Yeah.
but we worked on the car. I got underneath there and changed a bunch of stuff for the heat race and got it pretty good for the heat race there, and then changed a little bit more for the feature. And for the feature, I felt like we really hit the car dead on.
Yeah. So what is it? What is it about? Because that is crazy to see. Not easy to pass. I say this. People don't realize one of the hardest things to do on a racetrack, most racetracks, is to pass. Like, so qualifying, getting a good start early on in the night is so important. It's hard to pass. Having to pass 7 cars on that racetrack there Saturday night. That's a tough thing to do, man. It's no easy feat to come through traffic like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I've kind of got to be an artist at starting 4 or 5 rows back and driving up through them cars. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just the way we got this car set up and our motor program and everything, where we usually don't qualify the best, but seems to by the heat race we come around, and then by the feature we're dead on usually. So I try to focus on making my car good on the long runs, not focusing so much on qualifying. I mean, if I can get myself in the first 4 rows of a race, I know I can probably do something. So that's what I try to focus on when I get to the track.
Yeah. I got you. So, what is it about Willard Speedway and that Jesse Dillow Memorial, man? I mean, you think about an event like that. It's big in that area. It means a lot to that family. You know, for Willard Speedway and everybody there involved, and to win 3 out of 3 and some good competition there too, like Brandon Fouts, Derek Fisher, Shannon Thornsberry, I believe I saw was there. You know, and the list goes on. It's tough.
It's a good field of cars. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we're typically pretty good out there. I've been racing now. This is my 10th season. We started going out to Willard probably like 2020, 2021 when the Hicks opened it back up, and then Fisher was winning out there every weekend. I think I ran second to him 7 times in 2021. So I got pretty sick of running second, and I finally outrun him that year one time out there. And we've just been really good at Willard. But, you know, with that Jesse Dillow deal, I don't know if he reaches down in there and drives that thing for me every year or what he does. But it's like I always win in some dramatic fashion. You know, it's never off the front row. The first year I had to pass Tyler to win, and it was like with 5 to go or something, like a really late race pass. Last year I started on the outside row, lost power steering on lap 2. Like dropped to like 6th and drove back up through. There's no power steering and won. And then this year I started 8th and won. So every year I win it in some dramatic fashion, and I can't really help to think, but some external force helped me win that race. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at it. You said you run second to Derek Fisher. Listen, Fisher loves those small, tight, narrow racetracks. I mean, you know, Willard, he loves Richmond. I've seen him win so many races at Richmond.
191, he was good.
191, that's another track. You know, that's kind of his forte, is those small little bull ring racetracks that, you know, up on the wheel, lap traffic. You know, he's good in them. So, you know, for you to beat him at those top, you know, racetracks, that's pretty impressive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I like Fisher a lot. He's a really good guy. When I first started racing out there a lot with him, he kind of took me under his wing and showed me the lines, and he showed me the way around that place, really. And I think, honestly, the reason why my quarter mile program is as good as it is right now is because me and him raced so hard that one summer. You know what I mean? I worked that whole summer between going to Moeller and going down there. We just raced quarter miles pretty much the whole year. So that got my quarter mile program really, really good racing with him.
Yeah.
Moeller,
That's cool
that's
too.
another track that I've never been to Moeller. I've never been to Willard. Never been to Mud Lick. These tracks are tracks I want to go to and be able to watch some good racing at.
You got to come down. This weekend will be a good weekend. Friday and Saturday, the Ironman shows at Moeller Mud Lick.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be awesome. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. It
be a great
really
weekend.
Is. I can't wait. One of the things we're going to do for our steak dinner pick'em challenge, we're going to change things up a little bit. We're going to try to pick the winner, but we're also going to try to pick closest to the car count this weekend at Mud Lick for that Ironman Series race, because I don't know how many cars are going to be there, man. Like, it's just that's an area that there's a lot of cars over in there, and then you bring in the series. It's I'd say there'll be a lot of cars at Mud Lick on Saturday night, so it'll be a good show.
And Moeller on Friday as well, because that's another track, that area. It's a lot of good cars, but Mud Lick for 10,000, who knows how many cars are going to show up. So
I know, it'll be a fun show. But all those tracks you mentioned there, Wes, Richmond, Willard, 191 are all tracks that I would feel like I've never drove a super late model, of course, but I feel like they're all equal. They're all great equalizers too. Yeah. Like I don't know this for sure, but I feel like 900 horsepower probably wouldn't do you a lot of good at Willard Speedway, which probably it has to help some of you guys. When people talk about the technology and everything involved in the sport today at some of these other places, like aero probably doesn't mean a whole lot either at tracks like that.
No, at these quarter mile tracks, humongous motors and your aero package, that doesn't mean near as much. Like last year, me and Pavel built a motor. It made we built our own motors here at the shop, and we built one that made it's hypothetically 950 some to the crankshaft. We wheel dynoed it, and it made almost 800 wheel, made 796 wheel, and the wheel dyno said that it calculated it at 950 on the crankshaft, and it really was almost undrivable at those small racetracks, and even at the big ones. Honestly, like I really struggled just to find a grip anywhere, even at Mud Lick or at Portsmouth. Like it was just extremely hard to drive. So I went back with my small motor program this year, and I feel like I'm better with it. So
yeah, I got you. Yeah,
but you got that big motor if you ever wanted to, run the World 100 or something.
Yeah, well, I tore it up last year at Portsmouth.
No!
That's a bad deal.
Yeah. I see. Okay. So well, you mentioned there that your papa owns the car. So tell us a little bit about him. Is it Butch Dowdy? Is that right? Have I got that right?
Yeah,
and so
Butch Dowdy.
Butch Dowdy Racing. Tell me a little bit about that. How that came about in your relationship with your papa.
So my papa was racing since he's been 16 years old. He's 70. So he's raced, his whole life now. I started racing go-karts when I was 6. He got me into racing, obviously. I loved it. He raced at Mud Lick every weekend when I was a kid.
Okay.
He won 5 track championships down there.
Oh, wow.
I want to say like 2004, he won 13 features at Mud Lick that season or something. So I was always at the racetrack with him. Grew up down there, loved dirt late models, and started racing go-karts when I was 6. He took me to the go-kart track, and we went and raced Wheelersburg over here. It's probably about 10 minutes, 15 minutes from us. We went and raced that on Friday nights. And then I was 13, and I was thinking, maybe I can drive a race car now. I'm getting old enough or whatever. Yeah. And I kind of talked him into it. He had a spare car, and he put me a motor together and let me use his spare car. And I raced that first summer and didn't really tear too much stuff up. I ended up flipping a car at the end of the summer. Didn't have anything to do with me. Parts broke and flipped me over. But so after that year, he decided that, he's going to keep letting me drive. So, but we've been doing it for 10 years now, and he builds the motors. I do all the work on the car. I do the setup, body work, lettering, you name it. We do it all here. Try to do as much as we can just to cheapen everything up.
Oh man, that's really cool. So Did after that year you had there where you flipped at the end, but you didn't tear anything up, had a pretty good year for first year. You went straight. So it sounds like you went straight from from a kart to a late model. Is that right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was 14, so I would have turned my first laps at Southern Ohio when I was 14. I went straight from a flathead purple plate or gold plate go kart motor to a 460 cubic inch small block super late model. So that was a big jump when I was 14. But we didn't do that bad. I didn't that summer. I don't ever recall like spinning myself out in front of anybody or doing anything crazy. You know, I was pretty under control. I wasn't the fastest, but it took us a while. It took 7 years, but I mean, you know, just the way we race, we're only racing, 14 to 20 nights a year. We're on a budget, and we're not getting to race a ton, so it just took a while to get our program where it needed to be at. But now, we're I feel like we can click off some of these decent shows coming up.
Yeah, I got you, man. I'd say you're certainly capable. So from that year on, when you decided your papaw decided you're going to keep on racing, did he keep racing then, or did he just kind of? What point did he turn the reins over to you and say, "Avery, here's the keys, buddy. I'm just going to help you," or how'd that come about?
So he didn't just up and say I'm quitting this year or nothing like that. I think the first year, me and him actually raced together that first year. I want to say like 8 times we raced together at Portsmouth. So that was a really cool experience getting to race with my papaw. He's in the same heat races and the same features. I remember him passing me on the top at Portsmouth. I could hear somebody screaming on the cushion. I look up and it's him passing me on the top. So, but he raced, maybe 10 times the next year, and then it kind of faded. I think the last time he drove was he drove 4 years ago at Portsmouth. He got to drive, and he got to drive once at Atomic. So never say never. We might get him back in a car one time, but as of right now, he says no more driving for him.
Yeah, well, that's cool. I'm sure he has as much fun helping you and putting motors together for you, and watching you go out there and have success as he does driving for himself. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's just cool because family's such a family, or racing is such a family's such a family sport. Racing is such a family sport, and I think to have your program there with your papaw and to be keeping things in perspective, because I hear a lot from guys trying to do super late model racing, and it's a tough thing to do. It's really hard. It's tough to afford, tough to be competitive, and all those things. But I think if you have the right mindset and program and sort of vision for what you want to do and accomplish, guys like you here at the local level can still do it and be successful at it. So that's good to see too.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm really, really thankful for my papaw. There's no way I could do this without him. He's 70 years old. He's out at work right now on the truck, helping me pay for this stuff. And he just, like you said, he's a really good mentor. He's been able to, he don't let me get too off into the craziness of dirt late model racing. You hear a lot about, new technology and what so-and-so is doing or whatever, but we don't even have a load machine. We're still on grain scales. Like that's what we use. We stick to that. We try not to ask any questions. We're on our own deal, and try not to get mixed up, listening to anybody else's stuff.
Yeah, I hear you.
And sometimes, that's the best deal is what you're comfortable with. If you've got a good program put together, just put your headphones on. Don't listen to everybody else and all their stuff, because everybody's driving style, the way they set their cars up, all that stuff's different. So sometimes it's good just to have your own little notebook and program, and don't worry about anybody else.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I think that's true in life, in racing, whether you're, I don't know, a fan, a driver, a track owner, promoter, whatever. I think sometimes people pay way too much attention to what somebody else is doing. When, if you're just focused on your racing program and what you want to accomplish and what you're trying to do,
right?
Life's just better that way. A heck of a lot easier,
That's exactly right.
So.
Seems to be anyhow.
Seems to be, yeah. I agree with you. Well, what is the car? You mentioned you don't have any of the new stuff. You're still on scales and all that stuff. What's the car? What's your chassis? What are you running there?
This is a 2018 Kryptonite car. We bought it new in 2018 and then raced it, one with it and one with it. And I think I raced it probably about 100 times. Well, I mean, we didn't race it that many times, maybe 75 times or so. And the front clip was getting a little bit wore out. So went and got it clipped last summer and still on the same car, just with a fresh clip. It's doing good.
Yeah.
Good.
That's something else. Tyler Rigsby mentioned this the other day. I was talking to him. Just he's got a Lightning modified. He's had it for a couple of years now, and doing good with it. Has a lot of fun with it. But a lot of people seem to change things up a whole lot too. Like new cars, a new car every little bit, and so that I feel like that there has to be something to that as well. Being able to stay with what you're working with and not changing things up.
Yeah, I mean, to each their own. Some people like to get new stuff every year. I think some people just like the challenge of building a new car and getting it going every year, to be honest. I like the guys at Kryptonite a lot. They treat me really good. And this car has been great. I don't have any issues out of it. It's really consistent. It's fast. Everywhere we take it, it's been fast. So I don't see any point in, maybe this is Papal talking through me a bit, the stuff he's taught me, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you're still winning and running well with what you got, I just don't see a reason in getting new stuff and confusing yourself, and having to start from square one all over again.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've never had a car, never drove, but I look at it, I see these guys. If you have a good year, why would you go and try to change something up, even if you've got a car that's a couple years old? But all these cars, it's kind of like a man, and age is just a number. If that car's working for you and you can do little upgrades or work on this or work on that, different, maybe, I don't know, shock packages or just tweaking a little bit here and there. If you've got a good car that you're, it's safe, it's producing wins and good finishes, why change something up? Why don't you, keep that car? Like, I mean, I'm gonna throw Jonathan Davenport in there, for instance. That car that he, raced this past weekend at the Dream, that car's going back to the shop. I mean, it's going to be babied, and he'll probably pull it back out for the World 100. And that may be the only other race it runs all year. Who knows? Yeah. But when you hit on something like that, don't change it. I'm old school, I guess, when I look at stuff like that, because why change something up? If it, like you said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just let it alone and keep riding that wave till it ends.
Yeah, I think this new culture of dirt late model, a little bit, is a lot of whatever you see somebody else running or whoever's winning in this, you run and go get it as quick as you can, Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. If people want to do that, that's fine, but I just don't see any gains in that whatsoever. If you show up at the racetrack worried about your race car and looking at the racetrack and what your race car is going to do on that track and not worried about what 20 other people's stuff is going to do,
right?
And, you know what I mean?
Uh-oh.
Oh, we lost him.
Disconnected. So, man, we made it. We almost made it a whole show. Last time was my fault. I was just getting ready to tell him. Last time, there we go. Back. Oh, I think we might have reconnected. There we are.
Yeah.
I had a phone call. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all good, man. It happens. Yeah, it happens.
Technical difficulties on my end this time.
yeah. I was just fixing to say, man. It's just it's good, and it's true. I think sometimes the old school way still prevails, and all this stuff that you see, all the talk about new school approach to technology with everything, and yet sometimes what we see is that old school still prevails, So that's fun too.
Another way to look at that, you're in a Kryptonite, and if Fast Freddy and Tyler are good to you, take care of you, you can ask them questions. They're going to help you out. If you've got a good relationship with them, that means so much too. It has to.
1,000%, man. 1,000%.
I mean,
I can call, text them. It could be, it could be on a Saturday night when they're racing, and they could make something happen for me for the next day if I needed it.
Yeah.
But like last year, I needed that clip. I called Freddie I think we called him on a Sunday, and I was up there Monday morning at like 7 o'clock with my car, or Tuesday morning, whatever it was. It was that week, I don't.
Yeah.
A lot of these car builders, you're not going to tear up a car unless you're, one of their guys, a big guy spending a lot of money with them. You're not going to tear up a car and then call them on Monday and say, "Hey, man, I need this fixed this week." They're going to say, "Well, sorry, your appointment's in a month." You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
So I really respect them guys at Kryptonite. They would give you the shirt off their back for you to, if you needed it, and I really appreciate them. They build a great car. They treat me great.
Yeah.
And that has to mean so much, that they'll work with you and help you. And I'm sure they enjoy this success. You getting the wins and the accolades, and you say, "Yep, it's Kryptonite race car." So that has to be big for them too.
It definitely felt good driving past them Longhorns. I'll say that,
I bet, man, and it's cool too. But no, I mean, you hit it again there, Wes. I mean, it's like it's with anything. Relationships are important, and it has to be in racing too. And you're right. To a lot of these other bigger programs, a win at Willard Speedway may not mean a whole lot, but for Kryptonite, who you have that relationship with, and Tyler and Freddie and those guys, man, it means a lot to them, and I'm sure they appreciate you as much as you. Relationships are key in a lot of things. So. Racing is definitely the same, I'm sure.
Yeah, 1,000%. Freddie and Tyler and everybody. I just don't even want to say just them. Everybody at Kryptonite, Robbie Scott, Corey Delancey, everybody up there, man. They really are great people and would give you the shirt off their back if you needed it. And I really can't express how much I appreciate them. They build great stuff, and I'm glad to work with them.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, you are our Wayne's Auto Repair Driver of the Week, so we want to make sure we get this out there too. Give you a chance before we let you go. Who are your sponsors? The folks that help you with your racing program?
I'd like to thank Dowdy Trucking, Kennard Speed Freaks, Custom Suspension, Levi Wells, Slicker Graphics, Dave Poske's Performance, and I think that's all I got on here for this year.
All right, got you, man. Well, it's been a lot of fun, Avery. I appreciate you coming on here with us this evening. Last time we had you scheduled to come on, it was before a big race at Mud Lick as well, and I didn't plug the cord in the right way. So I got my end taken care of tonight, and we were able to get you on here. It's been a lot of fun. I know you're going to be running that doubleheader coming up at MRP and Mud Lick. I'm sure you're looking forward to that.
Yeah, we're gonna go down there and see what we can do. We know there's gonna be a lot of good cars there, with the series and just all the local cars. There's some really good local cars around here. So we're just I've been out here working this week, got the car maintenance stuff, doing some setup stuff, and we're gonna see what we can do this weekend.
Yeah, well, awesome, man. Can't wait to see it and see how everything goes. And good luck to you. Best of luck. Yeah. Maybe you can go pick up another win or two this weekend here locally.
I appreciate it, guys, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem, buddy.
Thank you, buddy.
See you, man.
Good luck this weekend.
All right, Avery Taylor here on Dirt Racing of the Bluegrass Live. It took us right out a year to get him back on here, but perfect timing coming off that big win, and a lot of fun. Glad to see guys like that still having success here locally in the super late model ranks.
Absolutely, and in a tough region up there. I mean, you look at those tracks that he's running. Just the regional guys alone are going to put on a good show. And then when you got big money races come in, you got the Ironman series comes to town. It's just cool to see just the competition at those tracks there, and just a good interview with Avery.
Yeah.
Good luck to him this weekend.
Yeah, it was for sure, and like I said, I really appreciate him jumping on here with us. Always fun talking to these drivers, and man, we've had a bunch on here this year already, probably more than we ever have. It's worked out that way, and it's fun because I learn things and get to know some of these guys, whereas otherwise, without this podcast, even for ourselves, we wouldn't have a chance to be able to hear these stories and kind of get to know these guys. So I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely, I do too. And we wouldn't have these opportunities if it wasn't for this podcast to talk to these guys and hear their stories and get to know them. And then it's always cool wherever we go when drivers come up to you and myself and, hey, when you gonna have me on the podcast? That is such a good feeling, and it's like, you're like, hey, such and such reached out to me, and it's just awesome. I love it, and that that makes us feel good that they enjoy and appreciate what we're doing. And it's for these drivers, it's for these tracks, it's for these promoters, and all that we are as the dirt racing community. And we just love what we do, don't we, little buddy?
Yeah, absolutely. We do, man. It's so much fun, just, and not just with the podcast, but everything else we get to do. And I was down there, like, for example, and you have opportunities like this too. I was at Rockcastle, and Dwayne had the microphone out there doing the kids' foot races and talking to people during the drivers on the front stretch and the meet and greet and all that good stuff. And he's like, "You want this microphone?" Sure, man. I'll take it. Don't you worry. You hand me a microphone, I'm all about it. I'll take it any day. But just having opportunities like that to help in any way that we can, and always excited and happy too. And they knew I was there with the family, and they apologized several times. I'm like, man, don't apologize. Like, that's right. I mean, I love it. We do just so many things, getting to know so many people that we wouldn't be able to, and help in so many ways that, like being with the KDRA Superstock Series a couple of weeks ago down there, teching tires, man. Like, it's just, it's fun, all of it. And
we ate that up and loved that they asked us to do it. And any track we go to, we're like, hey, if you need anything, all you got to do is call or text us, and we'll come help. Whatever we can do to help. That's what we're about. So
absolutely,
awesome that you got to do that. Down there with the driver meet and greet and the foot races and all that cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean a whole lot, but like I said, I mean, shoot, it sure is a whole lot of fun, and always glad to help. This coming weekend, we're gonna be making our. We might as well just go ahead and call it our annual trip. To Lake Cumberland Speedway to do some announcing up there, or down there from here, I guess I should say. So looking forward to that. That'll be a whole lot of fun. You think so? Second time around, are we going to be like new and improved, or are we going to be improved from the last time, or what do you think? How's it going to be for us down there this weekend trying to announce a race?
Well, we're going to, in one sense, we may be a little rusty, and in another sense, we may be more like seasoned veterans. Hopefully, more so like the seasoned veterans. But
I hope so.
I mean, this is second go around, so I mean, we done okay. I mean, you done a whole lot better than I did, but I'm more of a victory lane interview guy. You're good on the mic throughout the whole night.
Well, I think we both did. I think we both did a great job. I really do. And that's kind of what I was wondering. Are we going to keep it the same? We're going to try to change things up, or just roll with what we know at least halfway works, or what are we going to do? Am I staying in the booth and you're going to victory lane? So I don't know.
We'll see. It was a blast though. We both loved it, and glad that we could help Brandon and his crew out there at Lake Cumberland, and let Brian go on a big vacation with the family, right. and that's good for the summer. And we appreciate Brian and all he does. But yeah, really looking forward to that Saturday night. Should be a blast. I've got to work, and as soon as I can get out of work and head that way, and you got a busy day too on Saturday with stuff with the family, but we're gonna make it happen, and should be a great night. They're honoring the veterans. 2,000 to win crates, 1,000 to win Crown Vics, 1,000 to win modifieds, 400 to win hobby stocks, and I think 400 to win front wheel drives.
Yeah,
So,
that's
should be a great show.
Oh, it will be for sure, and I appreciate the opportunity for Brandon and Brian and everybody letting us do that, because we really do. We have a lot of fun with it. I've got a couple of things stored in the memory bank that I've got to remember, Wes. Really important. You talked about I'm good up there in the booth with the microphone in my hand. I'm right at home. Sarah actually said that after we were over there at Rockcastle and I had the microphone. She's like, man, yeah. She's like, you're in your element with that. And I'm like, absolutely
you
man.
are. Yeah. There's one thing you got to remember, though. When Brandon's during the driver's meeting, you got to shut up and let him go.
Shut up, man. I've got to remember.
I laughed so hard at that. She's like, he called me up in the booth, and I was down in the infield or at the driver's meeting or something. And he was like, could you just shut up just a few minutes? Let me get through this driver's meeting. I laughed so much about that.
Yeah, he called me. Yeah, will you shut up just a minute? Let me get finished with this driver's meeting. Ah, man, yeah, sorry about
buddy.
So, next I will not speak at the driver's meeting coming up on Saturday night, and but anyways, that's the only thing that I've got in my memory bank. I think if I can get through not talking over Brandon during the driver's meeting, all will be well. We'll have a successful night announcing there at Lake Cumberland. So let's go ahead and get to the Keltner Contracting Weekend Outlook coming up for this weekend. Another big weekend, Friday, June 14th. New promoters, they're opening up this Friday night. Mountain Motor. I had Complex on here. It's actually Mountain Motor Speedway.
Copperhead Classic, I believe I saw.
Yeah, Copperhead Classic. I think that's what they were going to call the Superstock race from this past weekend when it got canceled. So, like I said, a quick turnaround to track closing down to now reopening and coming back this Friday night. So really good to see there for Mountain Motor Speedway. Saturday, June 15th, Dollar Days and Sprints at Florence. Florence had a lot of sprints going on, man. Like, it's just it must be working, and we know Dollar Days works. So
yeah. They pack that place for Dollar Days.
Yeah, absolutely. The Valvoline American Late Model Ironman Series, like we mentioned earlier, will be at Mud Lick this coming Saturday night for $10,000 to win. No, that'll be a big one, man. And they had the Superstock Series this past weekend, so back-to-back with the series, and so I'm sure that'll be a good event for everybody over there at Mud Lick.
Oh yeah, just a great. Gonna be a great show at Mud Lick, and then Friday night Ironman will be at Moeller Raceway Park. They're in Williamsburg, Ohio.
Come on, Wes.
I got Iowa on the brain. I'm wanting to go to Iowa and race. I was talking to Sherry about the dirt tracks in Iowa and that black dirt, and I was like, man.
Yeah.
So that's some of the bucket list tracks out there in Iowa. I got Iowa on the brain.
Yeah, you got
Williamsburg, Ohio. OHIO.
Yeah, you can't be misstepping on me too, man. I do enough missteps here for you can't be joining in on the fun. You mentioned Veterans Night at Lake Cumberland Speedway, so that'll be a big night for them there as well. Looking forward to being there, calling that race. And then the KDRA Superstock Series is back at Richmond Raceway on Saturday night. So they're really in the full swing of their schedule with the Superstock Series, and hearing good things from them and seeing good things. So been to I guess we've been to almost all their shows. So really good to see for them.
We've only missed one, and that was the one this past weekend at Mud Lick, and we both had stuff going on. So I'll look for another packed house there at Richmond. Probably, I'd say, I don't know, anywhere 20 to 25 KDRA Superstocks will show up for that race. Their inaugural opening race was great.
It was.
It was a really good show up there. and you and I was able to be there. So I look for another really good one.
Yeah, we were there, like you said, and I'm sure it'll be another good show for them, and hope the best for everyone coming up this Friday and Saturday night here in the area. Looking forward to being back at the racetrack for sure. Well, let's go ahead and get to our DirtmanDiecast.com. I appreciate Dirtman Diecast. Be sure to look them up there on the website or at the racetrack this coming weekend at Mud Lick. I don't know for sure, but I'd guess he'll be there set up selling a bunch of good stuff, so be sure to check him out there at Mud Lick. Let's do Ironman Series at Mud Lick. I want to do two things. First, let's start with car count. Try to get some points, man. Where are we at, anyways?
We're 3-2.
Yeah, we're 3-2.
We picked the dream winners. Roberson picked McDowell. He didn't win. You picked RTJ, and I picked Huddy. So none of us picked the winners. So we zeroed on.
I know, man. I cannot believe we had 3 picks and nobody picked Jonathan Davenport at Eldora. That's probably mistake number one. We don't deserve points, man.
No, which here's the thing. He was the favorite coming in. A lot of times you don't want to pick the favorite, but I wish I would have and went up 4-2.
Yeah, I know, man.
Or if you'd have picked him, we'd been tied up 3-3. So
well,
I don't know. Those were 3 good picks,
yeah.
and all 3 of those guys are good, but I mean Davenport dominated, led all 100 laps, and I don't think nobody had anything for him. I think at one time he had a 6-second lead. That's ridiculous. Yeah. A 6-second lead. And his other big crown jewel that he won earlier in the season, I think he had a 5-second lead and won that one. So, I mean, I don't know. Man's just everybody says, look out. He could be the next GOAT. So
could be, man.
He's definitely building a good resume.
He sure is, especially with those crown jewel wins. With he's got a lot of them to go to, I'm sure. So cool to see. Well, yeah, let's try to get some points racked up here for our steak dinner pick'em challenge. Let's do car count first. Whoever gets closest to it, without going over, we'll play by Price is Right rules.
Price is Right, yeah.
Yeah. So if you bust, you go over, you bust, you're out.
Yeah.
But whoever gets closest to it, and I tell you what, I'm still trailing, so I'll go first for this one, and I'll let you have first pick on the driver.
Okay.
Let me think about this. 10,000 to win, Mud Lick. There's so many late models over in that area. It's crazy. I don't think anybody's really in that little general area over there running supers this weekend. So I think they've kind of got supers to themselves for the most part. I'm gonna say 36.
36.
I'm gonna say 36.
All right. So if you say 36, I'm gonna go with 35. So I've got everything under. So if it's higher than 36, you got it, and if it's lower than 36, I got it.
No, listen, we just went. All right, and that's locked in. You can't change it.
I'm not changing it.
We just went over these rules, Wes. If you go over, you bust. So if it's under 35, you don't win anyways because you bust. The Price is Right rules, man. We just talked about it.
Oh, well.
So, yeah, you got 35, but I got 36. So, worst case scenario is literally by doing that, the only way you can win is if there's 35 cars there at Bud Lick on Saturday.
I wasn't thinking.
Oh, well, it's just too bad. So, here we go. Ty, you better hope for 35. You better hope for 35 cars because that's the only way you win. You got to hit the nail on the head. Now, my luck, there'll be 35 cars there at Bud Lick on Saturday.
But if you do 36, you're over too.
Well, I know, but at least you didn't score a point.
Daggone it. All right. So for me to win, there has to be 35, and for you to win, there has to be 36.
For me to win, yeah. 36
no, if there's
or above.
over 36, daggone it, I'm losing this point.
Well, I mean, maybe
unless
not,
there's 35 shows up.
If there's less, if there's less than 35, nobody
wins. Thinking of that, I should have went with like 31 or something.
I know.
There's going to be more than that. I would, All right, it happens.
It happens.
So,
it happens, man.
Well, I'll get first pick in this since I screwed that up.
Yeah.
Golly, what a dummy.
Yeah, it's all right. It happens, man. I do it all the time.
Well, it happens. I'm gonna go with Josh Rice to get the win at Mud Lick.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I think I'm gonna go with Brandon Fouts.
Brandon Fouts. That's a good pick too.
I went to a race. I can't remember if it was last year before. To an Ironman Series race up at Portsmouth, and Brandon Fouts won that one.
Yeah, so, I think you did. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with him again this weekend at Mud Lick. Brandon Fouts for the win. You've got Josh Rice. Two good picks there. Let's hope there's not 35 cars. There's more.
I don't know what I was thinking.
I'll be in good shape. So
I'd have been all right if I'd have picked like 30 or 31. But
I know, man. So hey, it happens.
Oh, well.
Try again next week. Like I said, I'm telling you right now.
I wasn't thinking at all. I don't know.
Well, I'm telling you right now, though, my luck, there'll be 35 cars at Mud Lick Saturday night. I'm telling you. I'll lose my mind if there's 35 cars.
You know what's going to happen? Here's what's going to happen. There'll be 35, and it'll be like qualifying will be over. They'll be lining up for the heat races, and they'll roll one more in there, and they'll say, oh, well, we got 36 on the docket. And I'll be like, are you serious?
Yeah, through the gate. I know, man. That sounds about right for sure. So, well, it's going to be a fun weekend. Can't wait. To see all the different outcomes for the weekend coming up. Thanks to everybody for watching. It's been a whole lot of fun having Avery Taylor on the show, and I want to thank all of our fans and everybody for tuning in, watching, and listening here with us this evening. We'll see you at the races this weekend.
Go somewhere and support this weekend.
Yeah, that's right. See you guys.
Y'all have a good night.